Now, we have completed the first unit of our business statistics, and we are moving to the second unit of the business statistics. In the first unit of business statistics, we have already seen about the introduction of the statistics in detail, about what is statistics, definition of statistics, functions of statistics, importance of statistics, and limitations of statistics. And we have also seen what is a table and what are the different uses of table and how we tabulate, or what is tabulation and how we will do it, and distribution of frequency is prepared, and uh, how the table is prepared and general rules for that. And lastly, we have seen what is a diagram, what are the different types of diagrams, what are the uses of diagrams, what are the limitations of diagrams, what is a graph, and what are the different types of graphs we use for representing the data which is given to us. And we have also seen different types of graphs like histograms and so on. And then we move on to second unit. Before going to the second unit, a quick recap of the first unit is required. In the last lesson, we have also seen graphs represent complex data in a simple way and with more clarity also. They also help us to compare the data, because in picture we can present the data in a summarized manner in almost one page in most of the cases, or in 2 pages, and which will create interest in the viewer's mind. The viewer or the user starts thinking about the picture. The impact of the picture is so much that the picture is analyzed, what is explained there, and then the viewer can take decisions. Graphs are classified according to the histograms, polygon, frequency curve, Augeau curve, and graphs depends mainly on the nature of the data, the construction of the graphs, the selection of the graphs depends on the nature of data, objective of presentation, and nature of audience to whom we are presenting. And general rules for constructing the graphs are neatness, title, footnote, structural framework, scale, etc. Now we will move on to the second unit of our syllabus. In the second unit and third unit, as we have seen in the introduction class of the statistics, the second and third unit deal with measures of central tendency. What is measures of central tendency? What are the measures of central tendency? What are the averages? What are the uses of averages? What are the limitations of averages? And then we will move on to arithmetic mean, geometric mean, and harmonic mean in the second unit. And in the third unit, we will be looking into the mean, median, mode, etc. So we will start with the new lesson in the second unit, that is about the averages. The objectives of this lesson is to know various measures of central tendency, to understand various uses of averages, and to understand the limitations of averages also. We already know what is frequency and what is frequency distribution. A classification showing different values of variable and the corresponding frequency is frequency distribution. So we have already seen this meaning of frequency distribution. That is, classification is done and variable values and the corresponding frequency is taken. So that is called frequency distribution. An example for this is, you might have seen hub of a wheel. Hub of a wheel means for every wheel there is a center point. That center point is connected to the wheel with some mechanism, that is spokes, small thin steel uh, rods, or in some cases a different one. Mainly this hub is a central part of the tire. Any wheel or anything, this is the central part of the wheel. Either you see a bullock cart or a cycle, bicycle, or a motorcycle, or a car, or even a bigger vehicle, the center point of the wheel is supporting the whole wheel. That we have observed. Now, a central value is like a hub. Central value means for the whole data, there will be a central value. That central value is as important as the hub of the wheel, which will represent all other values in the data. Now here, central tendency means the value which is there in the center, or which is tending towards the center, which is nearing towards the center, will represent the other values also given in the data. So that is the actual central tendency. Now we will see measures of central tendency definition. There are so many definitions. First we will see first definition. A measure of central tendency is a typical value and special value around which other figures congregate. Other figures means the other part of the data, leaving the central part, the other parts, which the values lying above the central point, below the central point, all will come around, all will moves around or have relationship with the central point, congregate with which other figures congregate means coordinate or come together. So that is central tendency. This is given by a statistician called Simpson. And another definition is there, which is given by Clark, Mr. Clark, a good statistician. He has given an average is a figure. An average is a figure that represents the whole group. Basically, an average has to represent the whole group of data, the whole sum of the data, all the uh, rows of the data, all the values of the data. That is the actual meaning of average. When we calculate the average, that value will represent the whole data. How it represents the whole data, we will see in the later part of the second unit and third unit. And another meaning of the central tendency is it is a single value. Even though the average is a single value, it describes the characteristics of the entire data. No doubt the central value is only one value, but it explains the characteristics of the other data also. So that is why the average is considered as very important and central tendency is very important. Now we will see what are the different types of measures of central tendency. Here, types of measures of central tendency is there. The measures of central tendency are divided into two types of central tendency. Central tendency means, as I said, the average value is tending towards the central point. Central point means exactly if this, for example, the data is 0 to 100, the data central point is 50, 51, so on, or 50.5, so on. So the value is tending towards the average central point. If you say 50.5, it is exact value, that means it is exact. It, it shows exactly the value. But if it is calculated as 50 or 51, then the value is nearing 50.5. That is, it is tending towards, it is going towards the central value. So the measures of central tendency are two in number. One is positional measures and second one is mathematical measures. Now, positional means a position, some position in the values. That is called position. That is, average arithmetic mean always lies in the middle of the data. There is no doubt about it. Every time for the given data, the arithmetic mean is the central point of the data. But whereas mode, mode is most frequently occurring. That means more number of frequencies. If more number of occurrences are there, that is mode. Median is a different concept. That is also, median means middle, and that is exactly middle one. So like this, we will be having positional measures and mathematical measures. We will see. Mathematical measures are arithmetic mean, geometric mean, harmonic mean, etc. Normally, the arithmetic mean, geometric mean, harmonic mean tends towards the center point. They are rounded figures and they trend towards the arithmetic mean, geometric mean, and harmonic mean. The arithmetic mean is again simple arithmetic mean and weighted arithmetic mean. So that we will see when we go to arithmetic mean. Now, arithmetic mean. The arithmetic mean average or mean is obtained by dividing sum of the values. Now here the arithmetic mean average or average is obtained. We get the arithmetic average or arithmetic mean by summing up all the values given in the data. First of all, we have to add all the values and then divide division by number of values. For example, the data consists of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Values are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So all these are the values. How many figures, how many numbers we have taken? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. That means 10 figures we have taken. So we have 10 figures and we want to calculate the average. Now what we have to do is 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40 plus 50 plus 60 plus 70 plus 80 plus 90 plus 100. We have to take all the variables and sum up them and then divide by number of values. We have calculated 10 numbers are there. So we will take divided by 10. The total divided by 10 of all observations in a series by the number of observations. Mean is the most stable measure of central tendency. Mean is normally considered as the most stable, most consistent value or measure of central tendency because the value is more reliable and it has most advantages of the central tendency usage. Next, we will see weighted arithmetic mean. Weighted arithmetic mean means relative importance is given by weights to variable values in weighted arithmetic mean. Relative importance means how many times the weights are, how many times the data is repeating, or how much weight, how much importance the data is having. For example, normally in 10th standard examinations, most of the entrance tests conducted after 10th examination, they consider mathematics, science, English as more important. Just for example, we take Polyset. In Polyset, we have mathematics, science, and English examination will be there. A questions based on the 3 subjects. That means they have more weightage. They are more important for the higher education. So the examination body, in the case of Polyset, SBTET, examines or tests the students in these 3 subjects. That means they are giving more weightage to that and less weightage to the other subjects. That is what weight is. How much important that weight is, that data is, that is the weight. Now, we will see what is geometric mean. A geometric mean is the nth root of the product. Nth root means raised to the power 1 by n. Raised to the power 1 by n is nth root of the product. Product means when we multiply two numbers, the result is product of n items in a given series. Number of items given in the series. That is, we have to multiply all the numbers given in the series, that is product, and then we take the nth root. Nth root means all the sum raised to the power 1 by n. How many numbers we have taken in the data? That numbers we have to take. Then numbers, this much numbers we have to take, and then we calculate the geometric mean. These are obtained by multiplying values of items together and taking its root corresponding to the number of items. This I have explained you. That means in arithmetic average, we take all the additions, sum, but in geometric mean, we take multiplication of all items. So that is the concept in geometric mean. Now we will see what is harmonic mean. An harmonic mean of a given series is the reciprocal of the arithmetic average of reciprocals of values of its various items. Reciprocal means a number, for example, 5. The reciprocal of 5 is 1 by 5. So that is the reciprocal meaning. A number is given for which reciprocal is 1 by that number. So it is reciprocal of arithmetic average of reciprocals of all the items given. We have to take reciprocal and then we calculate the reciprocal of the arithmetic average of values of its various items. Values which is given. That is called harmonic mean. Now we will go to positional measures as we have seen in the flow chart. Positional measures are median and mode. So we will quickly go through this. First one is median and second one is mode. Now median is a value which divides the series into two equal parts. Now here median is the exact value or nearing value of the center value of the given data. This value can be calculated by taking some formula and then the median is calculated. Mode is the value that occurs most frequently in a statistical distribution. In the data, if the same value is repeated for more number of times, then that value can be considered as mode. So that we will see when we come to mode. For example, in a given series, if number 10 is repeating and it repeats for more number of times than any other number, then a mode is considered as the 10. Even if the value of 10 the value is lower or higher in the distribution. That is the logic. Now we will see what are the uses of averages. Uses of averages means for what purpose the averages are used. So by knowing the purpose of averages, we can understand how the averages works. For what purpose averages are being calculated. Now we can say these are the uses or objectives of averages also we can take. The averages represent the characteristics of the entire mass of data. It describes the entire data of the given data, the characteristics. For example, if we take 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, what is what are these numbers? For example, I say they are rupees. Then 10 represents rupee 10, 20 is 20 rupees 20, 30 is rupees 30, and so on. So this character represents, that is, the numbers given are rupees we have assumed. So that character is represented, that rupees are represented. An average represents all features of a group. Results about whole group can be known. So with this, results of the whole group can also be known. And this will facilitate, averages facilitate comparison also. The averages facilitate comparison. Comparison means comparing two figures, two or more items, two or more things is comparison. An average is single figure which can easily be compared with other figures also. Suppose we have two series and averages are calculated. We can compare the series and as well as average also what we have calculated. For both different series, we may get same average, or we may get less average, or we may get more average. Why the average is coming like that? That also we can compare. So of course it depends on the given data. Describe data. Averages always describe data because that represents the characteristics of the entire mass of data. The arithmetic average represents the characteristic of the whole data. So the average will describe the characteristic of the data. It describes the underlying data in a simple and brief manner, which is understandable to all the users. Next users is quantifying the relationships. Quantifying means giving them in a unit: kilo, rupees, weights, heights. All these things are quantifying. So this will give you a quantifying relationship. That means 10 rupees, 20 rupees. We can compare them and we can say A is having 10 rupees, which is half of the amount of B. Then we can understand what A is having is half of what B is having. If B is having 100, then A will be having 50. If B will be having 10,000, obviously A will be having 50. So this is comparison. That relation is helps the data or groups in comparing. Reduce the impact of extreme values. The extreme values means, for example, data is given like this: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100, 150, 200. This is possible. So the impact of extreme value, for example, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, average is, you can calculate that. 10 plus 20 is 30, 30 plus 30 is 60, 60 plus 40 is 100, 100 plus 50 is 150, plus 60 is 210. Now, after 60, we have 100. 210 plus 310 plus 100, 310. 310 plus 150, 460. 460 plus 200, last value is 200. Then 660, it is 660. Now how many items are there? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100, 150, 200. 9 figures are there. 9 numbers are there. So we have to take 660 divided by 9. So what is the average that we have to calculate, and then the average value is arrived at. So the increase in the value is due to the higher values of the data. So it will definitely have an impact over the average, but it has reduced impact because 660 divided by 9 is around 100, but the last number is 200. So the impact we can see. Basis for further analysis. The statistics always helps us for analysis. With the help of statistical methods, we will analyze the data and further they will help us to take decisions. Now here, most of the statistics analysis like standard deviation, correlation, regression, etc. These concepts, standard deviation, correlation, regression, we have in our syllabus, and we will be seeing in the later part of the course. And many more statistical analysis methods are there in statistics, which are very useful for decision making, good decision making. All these statistical analysis, what we have mentioned here, standard deviation, correlation, regression, and some other analysis depends on the averages. That is mostly arithmetic average or median and mode. So this analysis, statistical analysis also depends on the averages only. So that is the importance of statistics. Next is averages facilitates sampling. Averages facilitates sampling means if a sample is taken from 10 different shops and then we see, we can average them. We can take the average of them and the quality is best which we take from the average. Now we'll see what is actually sampling and other methods. Sampling means, I have explained you in unit 1. Sampling means, sampling is taking a part of the group for testing, for applying the statistical methods, for analysis. We will take a part of the group because when the group is very large, then it is very difficult to calculate the statistical methods on the large group. So in those cases, we will take only sampling. Simply for calculating average only, if the data is running to so many numbers, for example, 1000 numbers are given and we are asked to calculate average. So it will take more time. Of course, if we use computers or calculators, machines, we can easily calculate them. But manually calculating is difficult. So this sampling will help us to calculate the average or to calculate the best value for the data. So mostly the sample also represents the whole data, that is called population. Whole data is called population, the whole things. And the averages also facilitate decision making. This is very important. After all, the statistics analysis are used for decision making. They are used for decision making in most of the cases. So along with other statistical analysis methods, we use averages for decision making. In the previous slide, I have explained you basis for further analysis. So for in-depth analysis of the data, other statistical methods are used. And for calculating these statistical methods or for applying these statistical methods, we require averages in some cases. So if decision making is done in most of the cases with the help of averages. That is either arithmetic average, median, mode, or geometric mean, or harmonic mean. So according to the need, we have to select which type of average we have to use for our purpose. So that is also very important. The data is given, either we calculate median, mode, or arithmetic average. That depends on us. That depends on the average. That depends on the data given to us. So the decision making also depends on the data and the statistical methods used and the averages we got. Next is limitations of averages. There are some limitations to these averages. Limitations means this we cannot do. Some work we cannot do. Some conclusions we cannot come. Some decision making we cannot make just by taking an average like that. For example, first one is misleading conclusions. The averages are not considered very good tool for decision making, but for simple decision makings, average may be useful. But averages are really not useful for in-depth of decision making. These averages itself are not used for decision making in all cases. This averages along with other statistical methods we will take for decision making. So misleading conclusions will be there depending on the average. And choice of average. Choice of average, as I said in the last slide, we can choose from any of these averages which are available. For example, as I said, we have arithmetic mean, geometric mean, harmonic mean, median, mode. All these five are averages. For a given data, which average we have to calculate, which average we have to take, that is very important. Appropriate the average we have to choose. So for choosing that, it is very difficult. Next is incomplete picture. The averages normally does not give a complete picture of the data. That is, for two different series, the average may be same or coming closer to each other. So we cannot say both data are correct. Both data are similar. Both data behave similarly. So we cannot come to those conclusions like that. So that is the drawback of this averages. And next one is incomplete picture. So since we cannot come to a concrete conclusion, of choosing average, or some misleading conclusions will be there. That means it is not giving you a complete picture of what you have. It cannot represent the whole data. So the average is having that limitation of incomplete picture. The next one is inadequate representation of data. The data is not properly represented. Even though we have seen that the data given is represented by the average, but it is not so. In most of the cases, it is not correct. And last one is absurd conclusions. Absurd means meaningless, useless conclusions. We can conclude basing on the calculation of the averages, but that is not meaningful. The conclusion which we are arriving may not be meaningful to us, may not be useful to us. So the averages are absurd conclusions. So with this, we have come to the end of this lesson. We will see quickly the summary of the lesson. The measures of central tendency is a single value. All the averages are single values. The central tendency, central point, central value is always one, single, which represents a group of values. That means, for example, if we take 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 numbers, and we will average it. For averaging 10 plus 20, 20 plus 30, 30 plus 40, and so on up to 100. So since we are adding all the numbers and we are dividing by 10, that means all the numbers or all the data is represented by this average. So every value is having a place in the average. That is the meaning of representing a value group of values. The various measures of central tendency we have seen, we have seen a flow chart. That is the actual. We have arithmetic mean, median, mode, geometric mean, and harmonic mean. So in the next lesson, probably we will see about the arithmetic mean. And in the coming lessons in second and third unit, we will cover all the averages. The arithmetic mean is again calculated as two ways. That is simple arithmetic mean and weighted arithmetic mean. So this we will see in detail when problems are solved. Average is a single value representing a group of values. Average is always single value which is representing the group of values that we have seen. Average is useful for comparative studies, for comparison of the data, for comparing the data. The averages are very useful. As I said in the examples, two different data, three different data. For example, we can take data marks of 10 students in a class, all the marks in each subject, and all the marks are different, all are averaged differently. That is, first candidate marks taken and average, second candidate taken and average, third candidate data taken and we have calculated the average, and so on up to 10 students. Now we can compare the average of all the students with one another for knowing who is the best performer, overall performer. Of course, for comparing single subject, we need not have any average or something like that. We can just compare the single subject of all the people, all the students, single subject marks of all the students, and then we can take the comparison data and we can take decisions. But overall performance we can take only with the help of averages. Further, statistical analysis like correlation, mean deviation depends on averages only, because for calculating these methods, for using these methods, correlation, mean deviation, regression, standard deviation, and so many other things, he is basing on the average. First, we will calculate the average, then we will calculate these methods, that is correlation, standard deviation, mean deviation, regression, etc. And we have seen the averages will give you a misleading conclusions. The conclusions are always not correct. They may be wrong also. They may be wavering. One time more, one time less. So finally, the averages are misleading, right? Next is inadequate representation of data. This also we have seen. Even though we say it is representing a group of values, but still some inadequacy will be felt in the data which is representing the whole data. So we cannot just conclude it is a single value representing the whole group. If the group is very large and if the group is having variables with major difference, then it will not give you a correct picture. If the difference between the numbers are almost similar, then we can depend on the average. But that will not be the case in most of the cases. In most of the things, that may not be the case. So inadequate representation of data is there. Absurd conclusion, we have seen meaningless conclusions. The conclusion may not be correct. On basing on the averages, we cannot conclude particular correctly. Now we have assignment for us. First one is list out various measures of central tendency, that is arithmetic average, harmonic mean, geometric mean, mean, median mode. All these are measures of central tendency. Write the different types of averages. Same, different types of averages are same, just like measure central tendency. And what is an average? You have to explain what is actually an average, meaning of the average, and what are the uses of averages. You can also think of uses of averages. Or these uses, we can also take it as objectives. And lastly, list the limitations of averages. We can list the limitations of averages for this question. So with this, we conclude the first lesson of your second unit, that is averages, uses of averages, limitations of averages, and so on. Thank you very much.